going to talk about like external integration. So as of now, before this slide, I was talking about how you can secure the Salesforce data, right? The Salesforce users data. So when we talk about the external integration, so you can connect the Salesforce from the different various system, right? So maybe you will be connecting from Informatica, or you will be connecting from SAP system, or you will be building your own application. The like for example, the mobile application or your portal. There are certain use cases, but all the external system, we have to make sure the system, the connectivity between the external system and Salesforce is secure. Okay, so that's where the Salesforce is recommending us to use OAuth 2.0. Okay, the OAuth 2.0 is the one of the protocol that we can utilize to secure our integration. Okay, so Salesforce give us a there are certain scopes that is available by default. So when I talk about scope, like you will be having a functionality, like so when we are building some application, we talk about like, hey, these are all the scopes that we want to build in this application, right? So we'll be having a scope 1 called lead management, scope 2 called account management, scope 3 called opportunity management, right? So you can define the scopes in a proper way so that we can control our system. So I'm going to talk about everything in the next slide, but this is the general things. Like you will be having external system, we'll be connecting a Salesforce using a OAuth. Okay, and then the Salesforce giving a there are certain scope by default, like a API. So for example, you want to get access all the Salesforce data, so that means it's a API that that you will be adding to that particular connected app, so that you can retrieve only the data that is available for me. For example, we are adding another scope where we can refresh our tokens, right? So every 30 minutes we are going to expire the token. If you are setting up in such a way, so you can come back and read the certain data through that particular connection. If you are not having that scope, then you cannot perform that particular operation through that application. So when I talk about external client, so it's nothing but like we call it as connected app. So previously Salesforce used a connected app. Now the terminology changed to external client app, because they brought a lot of enhanced security mechanism in the external client app. So the connected app is going away, so we have to migrate all the connected app into the external client app. So I'll be talking about the external client app in the next slide. So what? Okay, so Salesforce is providing you the certain the mechanism, the OAuth mechanism for each and based on your use case. Okay, so for example, you are building an application and then you want to use the Salesforce as the identity provider. So that means you will be using a Salesforce credentials to get into that application. So authorized code flow, that is, you will be using a Salesforce login page to authenticate the user, okay, to the external application. And then JWT Barrier is it's one of the best secured mechanism that we can use. So for example, it's a kind of certification based, so you are not going to use any username or password, anything here. So you'll be creating a external client app with mechanism of JWT Barrier Flow. There you will be creating a new certificate, and then certificate should be signed by a CA authorized person, and then certificate will be shared among the system. So whenever the external system trying to make a call to Salesforce, the certificate, private key, public key need to be matched. Okay, so you don't have to share any credentials. So with this mechanism, it's more secured and also more reliable. So you are not passing any of the user information, username or password. We are not passing anything of those things. The client based flow, that's a server to server integration. So you'll be using that. So for example, Informatica is connecting a Salesforce. So that means you will be passing the you will be creating a dedicated user for that particular integration, like a API user, integration user, or middleware user, or something like that. So that user will be single user is connecting with the Salesforce. And then device flow, this is where we talk about like smart TVs, right? So whenever you want to connect your YouTube and then your TV, right, your mobile YouTube and then TV, so you'll be getting a one code, and then through the code you will be connecting the you are establishing the connection, right? So that is called device flow. So if you are manufacturing any devices or anything like that, if you want to integrate with Salesforce, this is the one of the best mechanism, device flow. And then token exchange, it's a kind of like a, SSO, but it's a token will be generated from the one identity. The token will be used among all other systems. So for example, once you log into single sign-on, you will be getting an access token. Through the access token, you can log into Salesforce or you can log into SAP. So you can just exchange the token to authenticate the system. And then the asset token flow, that is mainly used for IoT purpose. Okay, so for example, you are having a printer machine. The printer machine is keep connecting to your Salesforce, right? So that's a case you can have a asset token base, because each and every machine have their own access token. That token will be shared among the system, so that whenever this system is trying to connect to the Salesforce, it has to pass the access token. If you are trying to connect the Salesforce from the other system with same access token, it's not going to authenticate you. So it's going to block you there. Hey, you don't have access to this particular system. So in my example, I used authentication code flow because I built an application, the React application, where field technician and then marketing team. So field technician will be using a Salesforce credentials, username and password to log into Salesforce, and then authenticate. Once authenticated, it's going to redirect them into the my external application. There they will be performing certain actions.